So obviously, Michigan State is really a much better team than us. They're really an elite team. I've never seen anything like this in my life, where you take their last 6 games now. They were shooting 50% from 3, and their last 6 games now add that together. They must be shooting, and volume. Guys will shoot high numbers from 3, but not in volume at 60%. So they're really playing well. The adversity they had early in the year, where they had some close losses, and Denzel was back, made Forbes a better player, has made a lot of people a better player. And they're better than us. They're more experienced than us. Denzel Valentine is like, we can talk all you want about what a great performance Forbes went in. He doesn't get any of that stuff. He's got guys passing to him at the right time. And Valentine is just a separator tonight.
Can we make sure we have Bridget and Caroline with the mics? Raise your hand. Right there with Sam, Coach.
Coach, can you talk about which assistant had the scouting report on this and why the decision was made in the first half to play so much 1-3-1 zone?
We're ready to play at different times of the season, at different things. We couldn't stop them man-to-man, and we went to zone for a short bit, and we probably should have got out it after it worked a few times, because those last 2 threes were big. But once again, you're going to see how they react to it, and Valentine sees over everything. So when he wasn't in there, it'd be a little bit different. And he's just a really good player. I'm just telling you, he's like one of the guys we had a couple of years. The guys that we had a couple of years ago, they're just difference makers in games. Just need somebody who can shoot.
Down in front of the condo.
Coach.
In fairness to your team, though, without LeVert, was that a big reason why today?
I think that team right now is just. We're talking. Let's always put LeVert and Spike in the same deal. We didn't come into this year not assuming we wouldn't have those two to give us breaks and do everything. I think we're a better team with Karras out there. Today, I don't know if it makes a difference. It's just they were just really, really good. They run their stuff so well. I told Tom before the game, I said, I've seen your teams now for 9 years. I've never seen a team executing the way they're executing right now. And so it's hard to get answers to it, and then they defend really well too. They're a really good team. I think as the season goes on, this is as good a team, whether it was Xavier, whether it was SMU, whether it was these guys. Those are like #1 type of seeds that we're playing here. But we just can't compete with those teams right now. With the elite teams, we're just not good enough as those teams in the state of our roster right now.
To your right in the front with Jeff.
How hard is it to stay with Forbes? I saw Walton. Looked like he ran into a brick wall a few times.
No. They're a really good screening team. Really good screening team. We got Costello and all the other big men that they have embraced this part of it. And they work on it and they work at it. And he's really elite. And there's not a lot of runaway shooters. Guys that can go just full speed, turn in the air and shoot it in. And he's one of those rare guys that can do it. So Derek was working he's our best lock and trail guy. That's why we put him on him. And he locked and trailed, couldn't get there, and then if he does have any space at all, he's knocking them down. Last year he was 1 for 6 in the game here. And today, they hit their first 5 threes maybe. A couple of them were contested, a couple of them were in transition or whatever.
Right over here on the left with Jacob.
In the first half, it was Forbes with the 3-point shooting, and then in the second half, Costello kind of took over a little bit. How difficult is that kind of to defend when they can score both ways? Have you really seen a team this year that can do that like they have?
Yeah, once again, Costello has become, if you remember Matt Costello when he was a freshman and sophomore, he wasn't doing any of that. It's 4 years of hard work. And Denzel Valentine wasn't doing any of that 4 years ago, or even 3 years ago, none of it. And they were literally, really the cameo players on their roster. 4 years, just like Yogi Ferrell did, 4 years, they stick in there, they just keep getting better and better and better, and all of a sudden they become really elite players. And both of them, I don't know about Costello, but Valentine made a big push again. He's as good as anybody in the country. With what his stats look at, he's as good as anybody in the country. And Costello, there's not a lot of postmen that can do what Costello does. After 4 years of hard work, he's doing it.
Down in front with left.
Coach, even in some other losses, you've been able to get dunked in some rooms,
Yeah.
screening guys off. But what happened today that he was so stoned?
Well, we got him open a couple of times and he missed it. And these are these walls guys hit during the season. So I think he's now last 3 games 2 for 12 or 2 for 13. And those are things he's got, people are gonna lock, people are gonna get him, and we were trying to get him as open as we could. One of the best ways he's been open is in transition. If you don't get any stops, if the team shoots 60% of you because either defense or really high-level runners. How many guys, raise your hand, if you see a 6'5" guy that can shoot a 10-foot jump hook and put it in consistently? How many times you see a 6'5" guy shoot jump hooks from 10 feet? This doesn't happen. Runners, everything. Valentine is like special. And so we couldn't get stops.
We'll stay there with Simon.
Coach, Aubrey and Zach talked about a lack of mental toughness, and they said the same thing after the Indiana game.
No. Our kids are trying everything that they got. Everything they got. Those are typical excuses. I'll tell you the same thing in Indiana. They're so much better than us. You guys have to be looking at that. We got to get better. We just got to get better through improvement, through maturation, through our guys getting older and avoid injuries. And then we can play. It's really hard right now against teams like this for us to win.
Is there a guy on the court that you can count on to be that vocal leader to step up and talk to the other
It's
guys?
not about leadership. It's not about leadership right now. It's about us just as everybody just keep working and persistence. Time is a friend of truth. Just persistence of doing the right things and just trying to get better. Just trying to get better.
We got time for a couple more. Larry?
What is Karras able to do now, and what is your latest timetable on when he might be able to play?
Well, I'm not going to give out a timetable, but he had a workout today for 30 straight minutes, all basketball stuff. He's dribbling the ball off his foot, doing things because he hasn't been able to go and be tested at full speed. So, but we're not putting him on in a game like this until he's, we have physical tests we do with him where they got to run and make a certain amount of things. Otherwise, you might as well not play him. So now we got to get him in shape. He's been in the water. He's been on treadmills. He's done everything, but he's not in shape yet because we were so careful of shutting that down earlier.